Well, hello there, everyone. I am Dr.
Hello.
Kimberly. Hello, hello. I'm Dr. Kimberly, and we are here with mental health coach Janelle Mercedes, and we are so excited that you are listening. Janelle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well by the grace of God. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I am excited to be in this place with you a year later. A year
I
ago was our
know.
first series,
Yes.
right? So yeah, happy holidays
Happy
2025
holidays. Yes. We
year.
made it a whole year. Thank God.
Oh my goodness, good to see you. Good to have everyone with us tonight. Tonight we are talking holidays and mental health. And the name of the series is Putting the Wonderful Back into the Most Wonderful Time of the Year,
Yes.
right? Coach Janelle and I, we realized that the holiday season is extremely difficult for a lot of people. And so we just want to speak to that. If you don't typically enjoy the holiday season, guess what? You are not alone.
That's
Uh,
right.
According to the American Psychological Association, 38%, 38, that's almost 40%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
38% of people say that their stress increases during the holidays. I found another statistic as of 2023 that says 89% of Americans say that their stress increases during the holidays.
Oh
And
my.
so it appears that that 38 may have increased to
Oh wow.
89, unless the one of them was just for America. I'm really not
Hmm.
sure about that.
Hmm.
But I know last year the number was 38, and then
It
this
was.
year I found the 89. And
Wow.
then the National Alliance on Mental Health confirms that 64% of people who are already living with mental illness feel that their conditions worsen during the holidays, right?
Breaking.
And so as you can see, the holiday season is not always the most wonderful time of the year for everybody. And so there are a variety of reasons for that. That your holiday is not so merry and bright, right? It can be because our social calendars are jam-packed, right, Coach Janelle?
Yes,
Already.
absolutely. Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
yes, we have deadlines at work. Um, Maybe you've lost a loved one this year. Maybe you're grieving. And it doesn't even have to be this year. If you've lost a loved one, period. I lost my mom several years ago, and I still miss her during the holidays, right? Christmas was one of her favorites, right? So it doesn't have to be, I just lost someone. It could be the shorter and sunless winter days, right? Or it could be all of the above. Basically, the holiday season can kind of shine a spotlight on everything that is already difficult, right? And that can add another layer of stress. It can add another layer of anxiety and another layer of depression. And
Absolutely.
it's somewhat of a holiday blues kind of going on,
Mhm.
right? That we fall
Yes.
into. Now, the holiday blues aren't um, they're a little different from actual mental illness, but any kind of short-term mental health issues need to be taken seriously, right?
Yes.
And Coach Janelle is gonna talk to us about something deeper than holiday blues. It is seasonal depression. But before she goes into that, we just want you to know that we are going to try to keep this presentation upbeat, but in no way are we discounting this sensitive topic because many of us have reported um, feeling the angst during the holidays and
Mhm.
feeling like our mental health is negatively affected. So we're going to present upbeat, but we want you to know that this is a very sensitive topic, very serious topic. Um, and we really want our objective here is because we want you to be able to navigate the holiday season in a healthy way, right? With more knowledge and more ways so that you can put the wonderful back in the holidays, right? So, Coach Janelle, tell us what the seasonal depression looks like. What's going on there?
Absolutely. And before I do share that with you guys, I do just want to emphasize that I love the point that you said, Dr. Kimberly, especially about just the holidays being really heavy for a lot of people.
Mhm.
That number is heartbreaking. The fact that 89% of Americans just feel that stress increase during the holidays, that's heartbreaking because that's not what it's supposed to be. That's not how it should be. And I think the holiday season, in particular, this one, both Thanksgiving and Christmas, because these are two of the holidays that are really centered around emotions and around
Right.
heart and community. I think
Yes,
it forces people to be vulnerable in a way that they didn't need to be all year, maybe. So now
that's
that they're
right.
confronted with this holiday season and all these emotional feels and everything like that. It's just like, oh man, it's cracking my heart open. And now I'm realizing I
Yes,
still have a lot of undealt with pain, or even if it's dealt with. In the case of you yourself, when you said that your mom passed away several years ago, and that still hurts. That grief
mm,
was dealt with. You grieved her. And you dealt with it.
absolutely.
That doesn't mean that that pain just goes away. The memory, the beautiful memories that you shared with her, is still going to bring that pain because
Mhm.
those memories aren't current anymore as much as you would like
That's
them
right.
to be. So
Yep,
I'm just emphasizing that to say, like, just like Dr. Kimberly said, you're not alone and you're not crazy. You're not strange. You're not weird for feeling the fact that, man, the holidays stress me out and I'm not looking forward to it. It's because it's an emotionally charged holiday. These are emotionally
that's
charged holidays. So it's
yeah,
normal that once you're confronted with something that's opposite to what's in your heart, it's going to feel heavier.
for
Um,
sure.
and also, when it comes to the holidays, moving on to the topic of seasonal affect disorder, or
Yes.
it's called SAD or seasonal
Hmm.
depression. There's multiple names for it, but they all mean the same thing. It's interchangeable. And if you
Hmm.
also see me looking off to the right, my notes are over here. I'm not dismissing you guys or anything like that. I'm just making sure that I'm giving you guys the most accurate information possible.
For
So
sure.
SAD, seasonal affect disorder, seasonal depression. It's a type of depression that is triggered by the lessening amount of sunlight during this season. So, as you know, when the fall and winter comes around, the world, as we know, orbits the sun and it
Hmm.
rotates as it orbits the sun. And the reason why we have fall and winter is because the side of the world that we're on, it rotates away from the sun. So as it's making its run around the sun and it's rotating away from the sun, we're getting more seasons or more periods of darkness. And we, being the social, natural outside creatures that the Lord created us to be, we
Yeah,
thrive on sunlight. And when we have less of that, there's a lot of functions within our body that start to underperform because we're not getting that natural vitamin D from the sunlight. So if you're one of the many people, you're not the only one. If you're one of the many people that struggle with SAD during the holiday season, do not fret, do not worry. There are things that you can do to make this time a little bit easier for you. So, first of all, you need to recognize what it is because you may have it and you may not even realize it because you've been dealing with it for so many years or in such a long time. You're probably like, oh, I just get this way around the holiday season. No,
yep.
there's a name for it, and
A
it
lot of
can
people
be,
say that. Oh, I just
yeah.
get this way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just get
Mhm.
this way. And no, although it's common, it's not a normal thing. You shouldn't be feeling sad at any point
Mhm.
in, during any season. That's not what we
Right.
were meant to be. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Of course, we're human. We're going to get sad. But this level should not be
Mhm.
happening with you. Should not be happening in you. So one of the symptoms that you may start to feel is that you start losing a lot of energy. That's the most common symptom that people start to experience. As soon as we start seeing the sun a little bit less, we feel a little bit more sluggish. We feel more tired than usual, even if our diet hasn't changed, even if we haven't changed our exercise routine, even if we're eating cleaner, you decide, oh, the holiday season is when I'm going to decide to eat healthier. So why do I feel even crappier? It's not because of anything that you're doing wrong. Literally, the lack of sunlight, hence the lack of vitamin D, is depleting your energy stores. So that is one of
Right.
the main things you'll start to see. You're sleeping longer. That's another symptom. If you're losing interest in your usual activities, which is a common symptom for people who suffer with any form of depression, That's one of the things that you see. You start losing interest in things that used to bring you joy, that used to light you up. And now all of a sudden, it doesn't really do anything for you. You're like, oh, I love gardening. And now I don't have the energy and it's not doing anything for me. It's not exciting me like it once was. Well, is it the fall? Has September rolled around? If it has, it probably may be sad. It's not that you're losing your gifting or your love for gardening. It could just be the
Correct.
season that you're in.
Yeah.
Also, if you're starting to notice that you're gaining weight, even against your best attempts, because one thing that people don't forget, there was a huge connection between sunlight and that vitamin D source that you're getting and your metabolism. Once
Yeah.
you are experiencing your energy starting to go down, your vitamin D starts to go down, that affects a lot of hormonal systems in your body. Vitamin
Mhm.
D is very vital, especially to us Black women, Dr. Kimberly. I know you know that because of the beautiful color of our skin, we have natural sunblock. So it
Right.
blocks off a lot more sunlight than our other less colored counterparts. So
Mhm.
because of that, we naturally are always very low in vitamin D. Just because of the
Mhm.
beautiful chocolate skin that the Lord gifted us with. Yes, it
Mhm.
is extra protection from the sun, but at the same time, that extra protection does block out something that we need. So because of that, it does deplete your vitamin D storage and that can slow down your metabolism quite significantly. So if you're seeing that
Okay.
you're working out and you're still eating clean, but you see 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 pounds start creeping back despite your best attempts, it could be your vitamin D. And I
Right.
think this is a perfect segue into what you can do to counteract some of the symptoms you may be feeling if you're one of those people who struggle with seasonal affect disorder.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, take vitamin D.
That's
I can
right.
it's the easiest thing that you can do. I've already started. The moment that, even though I'm a person, if anybody has watched our last series from last year, I openly admit that I am a huge lover of fall and winter. I live for this season. I live
I
for it.
love it.
I
Yeah.
Yes, it's just something so warm and cozy, even in my
Mhm.
hardest moments, because I've had, struggles and everything during the holiday. But there's just still such a love that I have for this time of year. And also, I'm a January baby, so I'm biased to the holiday season. Um, However, that does not stop the fact that I very well know that seasonal affective disorder is very common. So, to counteract that during the fall, as soon as September starts rolling in with its beautifully different color leaves, I start taking vitamin D. And that is a simple way of how you can start counteracting SAD.
Mhm. Mhm.
Another way is light therapy. So if you
Yeah.
haven't thought about it, consider it and know it's more than just a regular beautiful lamp that you can get at Target or at Walmart. No, these type of lights actually emulate the sunlight, the natural sunlight that we get outside. And because it is very similar to the sunlight that we get outside, it forces our body to produce that vitamin D that we need. So if you don't know about that, go on Amazon. That's the world's global store. You can find very affordable UV lights that are safe UV lights.
Mhm.
These are made for that,
Yeah.
not UV lights that will cause anything dangerous in your house. No, these are made specifically for this. So look up light therapy lamps on Amazon or any other store that you feel comfortable shopping at, and buy you one. It doesn't have to be big; it can be something small, and you can put it
Mhm.
anywhere. You can put it near your nightstand if you just want to give yourself that first 15 minutes in the morning. Just let that light radiate, turn it on, and that's a great way to wake yourself up in the morning. If you want to have it on your desk, so you could do it during your lunch break, wherever you find that'll be easiest for you to at least sneak 15 minutes to just sit and absorb all of that good, warm, cozy, refreshing
Mhm.
light. Do that because it will make such a big difference.
Big difference for sure.
Another thing that you can do is you can talk to your doctor. A lot of us undermine how important it is to talk to our physicians because we feel like, oh, well, this is something that's not necessarily a physical issue. It's emotional, it's mental, it's internal.
Mm.
But your PCPs can direct you to a lot of great resources. That's what they're there for. That's why they're called your general doctors because they're there to look at all of you, not just a specific issue like, oh, I only focus on noses, just to give an
Yeah.
example. They're not there for that. They're there to worry and to care for the whole of you. So if you tell them, hey, I'm struggling with this, they will give you a lot of mental health resources, great ones that are very useful. They can direct you to a coach, to a counselor, to a psychologist, to a psychiatrist that can give you the help that you need. If you need prescriptions, they can direct you to the right source for that if they can't give it themselves. They will direct you to a great psychiatrist that will prescribe you the anxiety medication, the antidepressant medication that you may need, even if it's just for this season. And
Mhm.
I want to bust this right now, Dr. Kimberly. Bust
Busted.
this. Yes, the stereotype, the stigma about taking antidepressants and anxiety medication.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, you have no problem running to the cabinet for Tylenol, Motrin, Advil, Aleve when your back hurts, when your arm is not moving right, when
Come on, Coach Janelle.
when you're walking with a little bit of a limp. If you got a migraine, you take that
Yes.
Excedrin real quick. We have
Yes.
no problem taking medications for any physical ailments we may have. But when it comes to mental health, oh
Yeah.
no, I can't do that because people are going to think I'm crazy. No,
Right.
just think of it as a pain reliever for your heart because that's
That's
all it
exactly.
is. And
Yeah.
again, it's just that it is a temporary pain reliever because we're going to bring you your permanent pain
Mhm.
reliever and pain resolver at the end of
And
this episode. So stay tuned for that if you don't
that's
already
right.
know who he is. But there is nothing wrong with taking
Yeah.
anxiety medication, antidepressant medication. It does not have to be a lifelong diagnosis. It doesn't
That's
have to be a lifelong assignment for you. It could just be for this season, and that is
yes.
okay. Take
Yeah.
care of yourself. There is
Mhm.
only one you. You don't get another you. The world doesn't get another you.
Yeah.
So
That's
take care of yourself. It is very important. Do not undermine seasonal affective disorder, aka seasonal depression, aka SAD. It is a
yeah.
reason why it has a name because it's common and it does make an impact. I would hate to see in any of our beautiful listeners for them to
Mhm.
have SAD for all of these years and for it to escalate into a more chronic form of depression. It does not need to get there. Do what you
Mhm.
need to do right now to take care of yourself so that way you can counteract the symptoms and the effects of seasonal affective disorder. And Dr.
Mhm.
Kimberly, I'll open the floor for you to add whatever you would like.
Yeah, you may not have sad, but maybe you are sad, right? Maybe that's
Right.
the emotion that you're
Absolutely.
feeling. And if you are that person that feels sadness or heaviness,
Yeah.
as you enter the holiday season and in the middle of the holiday season, I think it's very important for you to find out the root of the
Yes.
sadness, right?
Absolutely.
Why do we
Absolutely.
need to find out the root of the sadness? We need to find out the root of the sadness because whatever that is, we have an opportunity to walk it out, right?
Yes.
To work it out in a constructive way, right?
Yes.
That is healthy for you, right? But if
Yes.
I can identify the root of
Hmm.
the sadness, I'm in this place where I'm not getting healed.
That's
It
right.
almost seems perpetual,
Hmm.
and I actually accept it and almost
And
partner with it
yes, yes.
here, right? Where it sounds like, oh, well, I always get like this. No, let's find out the root. And so there can be various roots. Number one, you could be sad or depressed because of grief, right?
Hmm.
Um, Grief is that painful emotion of sorrow that's caused by a loss or an impending loss of anyone or anything that has deep meaning to you. So you can experience grief from losing a job, a pet,
Hmm.
a dream, a relationship, or you can also experience grief due to a loved one who has passed. And as I said earlier, it doesn't have to be a loved one that passed this year. And I'm emphasizing that because I think Coach Janelle that some people almost feel a condemnation or a guilt
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
my mom died 10 years ago, right?
Hmm.
I should be over this, right? And
Yeah.
grief really has no timeline, right? And it's
None.
not linear either.
No.
And so you could still be experiencing grief. Don't discount that because oh that happened 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That sadness could be loneliness as
And,
well.
and I'm
Oh yeah,
sorry, Dr. Kimberly, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that's such a great point that you made about the fact that there is no timeline to grief. If
yes.
anybody's familiar with the actress Regina King, she lost her son in a really sad and tragic way. And I love the way that she described grief. And it stuck with me, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. And she
Yeah.
said, grief is essentially love with no place to go. And if you think about it that way, it will make a lot more sense why even after 10, 15 years later, if you've lost a loved one, a spouse, a parent, a child even, and you still feel, but Lord, it's been so many years now. Why does this hurt me like it happened yesterday? Think of it as love with nowhere to go. And let me give you a place to put it, in Jesus. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to get sad. You will. You will. That's a normal emotion. Remember, Jesus grieved and he sobbed and he cried and he felt. That is all okay. That is all okay. Just remember that if you ever feel that love with no place to put it, you can always put it in Christ. So I just wanted
Mm.
to make that little point.
That's so good. I love that. I love that. So you could be feeling grief. You could also be feeling loneliness, right, Coach Janelle? Um, perhaps singleness. Maybe you're single, right? And you
Mhm.
have always thought that the holidays should be spent with a significant other, right? Um, and so with that, you could be isolating yourself, or maybe that's not your situation. Maybe you just kind of identify as the black sheep or a loner and you're isolating yourself, right? Whether it's the loss, of a loved one, or you don't have any family to celebrate the holidays with. Isolation can lead to loneliness and grief and depression, right?
Yes, yes.
Especially at this time of the year where there's almost this expectation where I should
Yes.
be with someone. I should be with my family. I should be with my significant other. I should be with friends, right? And so again, you want to identify, what is this? Is loneliness the root? Another root of sadness could be perhaps family feuds or conflicts, right? The holidays, y'all, are filled with such enormous emotional complexity, right? You got love, Coach Janelle, you got hurt,
Yes.
sadness, excitement, and so on, right? And
Hmm.
just like that, I think family dynamics can be complex as well, right?
Yes.
So evaluating your own expectations, I think, are imperative, right?
Yes.
Um, for example, you may have grown in the year, you may have found the Lord, you may be going to counseling, right? And so you're different from
Yeah.
the holidays 2024, right?
Yeah.
And so you may have to adjust your expectation in thinking that, let's just say um, mom has grown too,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
She may have not done the work that you've done all year, right? Um, Aunt Lorraine may have not done the work that you have done all year,
Yeah.
right? So she may not admit to hurting you, right? And so maybe we don't need to have that expectation at the
Hmm.
Thanksgiving table that she's
Right.
going to admit to hurting me. She may still be loud, right? She may still be her annoying self that used to get under your skin. And so adjusting those expectations, I think, are very important, because we cannot expect um, our family members to be something
Absolutely.
that we want them to be, right? And so we need to do that introspection when it comes to what we expect of our family members, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
And so, Coach Janelle, what are the reasons do you think there are as it relates to why we could be sad?
To continue off with the family thing, because I think it's so common for, especially for those of us that have done the work, done the prayer, done the fasting, done the coaching, done the counseling,
Yeah,
spoke to the pastor.
yeah.
You've made your own
Hmm.
amends. So now Thanksgiving rolls around again, which we pointed out in the beginning of this episode. And it's an emotionally charged holiday. So you're expecting that same Aunt Lorraine, as she's passing you the mashed potatoes. By the way, I'm so sorry for how I treated you all throughout your teenage years.
Yes, yes.
Don't do that to yourself.
Hmm.
Don't do that
Yeah.
to yourself.
Set
Don't have
set
that
yourself up.
expectation. Setting yourself up for depression, honestly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what that's doing, because you're gonna walk in expecting a reality that was
Hmm.
never talked about, never planned for, especially if it didn't come out from them. However,
Yeah.
if you want to take the initiative and you want to say, listen, this is what I've done this year. This is how I felt
Yeah.
about those years. So this is, how I'm going to approach our relationship from now on.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
great. And I think that's brave of you. I think that's excellent and emotionally mature of you.
Yeah.
However, if you are going to say that, to not expect anything, to be honest with you,
In
because it
return.
could
That's
go,
right.
yes, it can go either way. It could actually, that could be the start of them doing some introspection as well and saying, wow, you know what? Maybe I wasn't the best family member. I wasn't the best aunt, uncle, mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, whoever it is, friend, whoever it may be. But
Mhm.
also expect for them to kind of give you an attitude if you're going to say something like that.
Mhm.
Who do you
Mhm.
think you are? You think just
Mhm.
because you found Christ that now you get to.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Mhm.
don't, if you are going to make that very brave and emotionally mature decision, just don't expect anything and be pleasantly surprised if they do take it well.
Yeah.
However, it is okay to, if you decide not to say anything, and just try to enjoy your holiday in the best way that you know how by first
Mhm.
taking care of you. So
Mhm.
just continuing on from the list that Dr. Kimberly was saying is that sometimes you having distance from your family friends, if you have to travel for the holidays, which I know people hate, and unfortunately, depending on the job that you may have, it may require you to do so, and you may feel like you don't have a choice. And that can be really heartbreaking and distressing for a lot of
Yeah.
people. So that definitely could be one of the reasons why you're just feeling sad and feeling overwhelmed with sadness. Just know it's not your fault and it doesn't make you a horrible person if you have to travel for work, because that's the way that you provide for your family. If you can, of course, and I'm sure you already have, look for other alternatives. You can look for other jobs. But if this is the season that you're in where you do have to travel for the holidays, just know it is normal to be sad, to be heartbroken, to be distressed even over the fact that you're going to be distant from your family and friends. And know that you always have recourse. And everything that we're listing out here as the reasons as to why you may be sad for the holidays, you have recourse, you have a solution, you have a way, an alternative to it. Another reason might be the financial stress of the holiday. I think that's one of the biggest reasons, Dr. Kimberly, especially for me,
Mhm.
for the holidays, why I might feel a little bit antsy is the fact that I have a humongous family, and there's just
Yes.
no way, unless the Lord decides to bless me with King Solomon or Bill Gates money, there's no way that I can get a gift for every member of my family, regardless of how much I love and adore them. There's
Right.
just no way. And I
Mhm.
think one of the ways that you can kind of set yourself up for a little bit less stress is to kind of be upfront about it and just say, listen, this is going to
Yeah.
be a type of you get a hug and a candy cane holiday. Okay. Because I have to
Yeah,
take care of my
for
household first.
sure.
And I love you. And I just want you to know that even though this is a small gesture, I hope you can see the extent of my love in it, because
Yes.
you don't need to burden yourself with any more financial stress unnecessarily,
Mhm.
especially if you're someone who's already struggling with debt. If you're someone who has a lot of bills to pay, you have a giant family to support,
Yeah.
you don't have to add on the extra stress of buying everyone gifts for the holiday. It's
Yeah.
not necessary. It's a nice to have, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Another reason might be fatigue and burnt out. You might just feel burnt out from this year. You're finally reached the end of the year. Thank
Mhm.
God. And you don't even know how you made it to the end of this year. And now you're just fed up. You're over it. You're done with it all. That is
I'm
normal
done.
too. I'm just
Right.
done. I'm clocking out for the year. I'll see y'all January 2nd. I'm done. That is
Oh
normal
my
too.
God.
You would actually be surprised how many people, even mental health
Mhm.
professionals, and we know what to do, right? We know how to
Yeah.
take care of ourselves, or so you would think. They always say that doctors and professionals are the worst patients when it comes to that stuff. Mental health professionals are not excluded from that. We are our own worst patients. We know exactly what to
Oh,
do. We know
yeah.
exactly how to help the people around us. And then when it comes to us, we're like sinking in a corner. We're just like, what's going on? Like, what do I do now? I'm completely burnt out.
Yes, we have to practice what we preach.
Yes, absolutely. So you'll be surprised how many people are also going through that. So you're not alone. So if you're feeling fatigued and you're feeling burnt out, trust, we understand. You are understood. Um, just all the work that you have to do, all the responsibilities you have to take on, regardless of age, because everybody
Yeah.
has responsibilities in whatever season of life they're in, no matter how old you are. If you're a teenager, you can be burnt out from just having to study all the time and making sure that you get into the right college, so you can follow your career, follow your dreams, making sure you're making your parents proud, and
Mhm.
being a good older sibling, your older sibling. If you're the younger child, trying not to be the mess up of the family. There's a lot of pressure. And
Right.
of course, the adults, the responsibilities are endless. I don't even have to get started on that list. So if you're feeling fatigued and burnt out, you're not strange, you're not weird, you're not alone for feeling that.
Right.
Another reason might be unrealistic expectations. What unrealistic expectations, I'm sorry, did you have for yourself? Did you
Mhm.
expect to lose 120 pounds in 3 months?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not realistic. It's
Mm-mm.
beautiful. It's a nice dream to have. And if that's a goal
Right.
that you've started for yourself to get healthier, I applaud that. Trust that me and Dr. Kimberly are cheering you on. You can do it. However, make
Yeah.
sure that your goal is realistic. It is healthy and safe for you to lose anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds in a month. In a month. That is the most. Anything more than that, and you're getting into dangerous territory of
Mhm.
eating disorders and other things that you honestly do not want nor need to be struggling or dealing with.
Yeah.
So, are you having unrealistic expectations of yourself? And I was just using weight as an example, but it literally could be anything. Did you expect to jump from one job to another and move from one salary bracket to a drastically different salary bracket,
Mhm.
in this next job? Did you expect for you to just get over whatever trauma you had after 3 sessions of therapy? The
Um,
expectations that you had for yourself could have been anything, but was it realistic? Was it
mhm.
reasonable? So
Mhm.
that could be one of the reasons why maybe you're sad, because you set unrealistic expectations on yourself and stressed yourself out unnecessarily. Do you have any unrealistic expectations of family members? We mentioned the example of Aunt Lorraine. If she was her loud, toxic, verbally abusive self during your teenage years, are you
Mhm.
unrealistically expecting her to be nice and less toxic over Thanksgiving, when you don't know whether she's found Christ, whether you don't
Right.
know if she's done the therapy, she's actually done the work to resolve whatever hurt that has made her that person in your life? Are you having
Mhm.
unrealistic expectations of that uncle or that cousin that stepped over boundaries with you and violated boundaries? Are you expecting them to suddenly admit that they did that? And I don't know, just say that they were wrong, that they were monsters, and you can't expect that. That is a very unrealistic expectation. Did you have unrealistic timelines for projects that you wanted to get done? Did you have unrealistic timelines for changes that you wanted to get done in your house, changes in your family, maybe even changes in your finances? If you're trying to get out of debt, if you're trying to repair your credit, things like that. Did you have unrealistic expectations set, although you set these goals with the best of intentions? Because I think that can happen too, Dr. Kimberly. Correct me if I'm wrong, that we have the best of intentions. We want to do better for ourselves. We want to be better for ourselves and for the people around us. And so, in that excitement and in all that energy, that burst of energy and motivation, we kind of get a little too excited and
Do.
we set the bar a little bit too high without
Right.
thinking about the appropriate steps of what it would take to get there. And then
Mhm.
when the time approaches, the deadline approaches, and we realize that we're nowhere near that unrealistic bar that we set, now the depression and the sadness and the isolation
Exactly.
starts setting in.
Yep.
When honestly, you probably should have set the bar over here, not because you're incapable or you're untalented or you're unskilled, but because realistically, this is what is humanly possible for the time frame that you set. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's
Um,
right. Mhm.
there are also, you may be experiencing sadness. Now, we're recording this in the midst of the holiday season, but you may be experiencing sadness for future self post the
Mhm.
holiday. You might be concerned
Mhm.
about what it looks like after the holiday, because maybe the holiday actually is exciting for you and you can't wait to have your hundreds of family members around. And you're really scared about the loneliness you may confront and face after everybody's
Mhm.
gone, after the holiday is done, after all of that natural joy and love that the holiday season
Mhm.
brings. You're scared of what January 2nd is going to feel like. of what
Yeah.
it's going to look like when you're by yourself in that house looking at those four walls.
Yeah.
And that's normal too. That is okay, especially if you're someone who's craved community and it's been difficult for you to find that, and you're only getting that during the holiday season, and
Mhm.
now you're back to feeling like you don't have that support system to rely on. That can be definitely one of the reasons why you're experiencing that holiday sadness or stress. And Dr. Kimberly, I don't know if there's anything else I missed or anything you would like to add.
Just to add on to that last point about the post sadness,
Yes,
um, during the holiday festivities, all the family is there. You're hearing
yeah,
everybody's like highlight, right?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I got engaged. Oh,
Oh,
Tina's
yes,
having a baby.
absolutely.
Oh,
I
Todd
got a
just
promotion.
graduated. I got a promotion at work, right?
Yeah,
And so all these, you're getting everybody's like highlight
yeah,
reels,
yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
in your mind, you have nothing to celebrate. And so January 2nd comes and you
Mm,
start thinking about their baby, his
mhm,
promotion, and all of that. And so here
mhm.
comes a rush,
Oof,
like a wave of sadness, right? And so
mhm.
I just want to caution everybody, Coach Janelle, to
Yes,
really pay attention to that need to compare, right? Because
that's
we hear
good.
these things and then we
Yeah,
compare to what's going on in our
yes,
life, right? It's kind of
yes,
like social media. Nobody's
yes.
sharing, the awful parts. Nobody's
Mhm.
sharing about, oh, the adoption fell through, or
Right. The
hey,
rounds
I
of
didn't get in.
IVF.
Right. Nobody's sharing that, but they are sharing, look, we're pregnant. Here's the sonogram, right? And then
Yeah.
you're going off of that highlight reel and you've just
Mhm.
stepped in and ushered in depression because you've
Absolutely,
compared their life to your life. And so
absolutely.
be careful with that because post holiday sadness is real and that's very difficult to get out of.
That's a great point, Dr. Kimberly. Great point. Yes.
So Coach Janelle, as we talk about like these, you know, reasons to be sad, I think
Yeah.
it's important to touch on the importance of knowing yourself and
Mhm.
accepting your needs, right?
Yes.
And that's easier said than done, right? But I think
Mhm.
knowing yourself and knowing your needs, that's going to be imperative when it comes to putting the wonderful back into the most wonderful time
Yes,
of the year, right? And
definitely.
doing that is you choosing your mental and your physical health, right?
Mm,
So,
that's
for
good.
example, if you are someone who um, you're not necessarily antisocial, but you need breaks,
Yes.
right? Too many people kind of get you bummed out,
You
right?
tend to
And so,
lean towards introverted.
right. And so when you need a break, right, you need to choose to take a break. But Coach
Absolutely.
Chanel, if I don't know that about myself, if I don't
Mhm.
know, okay, about every hour, I need to
Mhm.
step out, on the
Yep.
balcony or go in the hallway or
Yep.
whatever I need
Yep.
to do,
Definitely.
just to take a refresh, right? If I don't
Absolutely.
know that I need to do that, then I'm not going to show up as my best self. And so I may walk into the holiday function and about an hour later, like my mood is just taking a downward
Yeah.
downward spiral, right? And so we want to know ourselves and accept our needs. And so I think a way to do that is to ask yourself a few questions, right?
Mhm.
I think the first question is, what brings me joy?
That's a good
What
one.
brings me joy? A lot of people don't know the answer to that. I did a
Yeah.
video on it today that I'm going to post this week, but um, I think that is so important. I remember when my mom had died and my best friend, I was so consumed with my grandma's needs, my mom's needs, and my dad's needs, and my family's needs. And my best friend came up to me and she said, "What do you like doing?" And I had no answer. I had
Wow.
no answer, right? Granted, she asked me that on the day of the funeral, like that
Mhm.
night, but even if it wasn't that day, I literally did not know,
Right,
right?
right.
And so we need to know what makes us happy this holiday season, not just
Yeah.
the holidays, but I think throughout the
In
year, right? But
general.
as we are, yeah, in general, but as we are talking about the holiday season, you need to know what makes you happy and what brings you joy so that you can incorporate those things, right? In the holiday season, right? If especially if you know this is typically a sad time for me, I'm typically a little, down, then what gives me joy? And it could be simple things, y'all. It could be going out for a brisk walk, right? It can be um um taking your camera down to take pictures of the water at the park, right? It can be small. Seeking your joy does not have to be expensive, right? In
That's right.
fact, Jesus Christ already secured your joy on the
That's
cross.
right. That's right. Amen.
It's our emotions, right? And typically our emotions like sadness and anger and frustration and those things, we don't allow ourselves to experience joy, right?
Mhm.
And we get to experience joy, and joy um, helps you to better navigate the circumstances that you're in. Joy helps you to be more accepting of the skin you're in, right? And so we don't want to discount that. What brings me joy is an amazing question.
Hey there. So, if you're enjoying part one so far of this episode, please stay tuned for part two because it will be coming to you soon. Dr. Kimberly and I are so excited to see you back with us. Bye.